And I don't think either. And Kristaps Porzingis is 7'3" or whatever he is, but he's not a super effective player against a guy like Domas. I literally at one point I was putting away Christmas decorations on Friday night. It was a sad day, and I stopped what I was doing when I realized that Domas on like 4 consecutive possessions had grabbed the rebound, either offensive or defensive.
Oh yeah.
And so I stood there. I was like, I'm just going to watch until he doesn't grab a rebound. He might finish with 30, and he finished with 28.
Yeah, it was absolutely
might have been more if the game was close.
You know, Kristaps Porzingis in that game had 22 points and 10 rebounds. I don't even remember him. I do remember Sabonis. Yeah.
He hit a couple of threes early.
Sabonis ripped down a rebound over the top of him and then shoved him out of the way and went right back up with the left hand and scored the bucket. I remember that. I remember him getting in the way a little bit.
Yeah.
But like overall, like I remember Jaylen Brown playing with force and trying to run over Keon Ellis. That was like his mantra. Like
early in the game, he had what, like 10 points in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was like, I am going to run you over every single possession. And then once the Kings kind of figured out how to give him help, it was like they shut that faucet off. Jason Tatum, non-factor, 15 points. He had 12 rebounds, but again, like 5 of 13 from the field.
I literally at one point, again, because I was going around my house and I'm picking stuff up and I'm checking in here and there. And at one point I was like, I don't think I've heard Mark Jones say Jason Tatum's name in like a quarter and a half. Is he even playing?
Yeah.
That's an MVP candidate. And that's where it's like, again, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and go, the Kings are just better than the Celtics. What do you want?
Yeah.
They're not. But the way the Kings are playing right now, if you take them lightly, the way the Celtics did, and think that you can play 65, 70%, whatever they were playing and win, no, you're going to get punched in the teeth.
Oh, yeah.
And then you saw him try to flip the switch later in the game, and the Kings just had the faucet turned off.
Yeah, I mean, the Kings in that game
super impressive.
18 of 47 from 3. 18 of 47.
Yeah.
And they held Boston to 11 of 41.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, watching guys like Derek White go out there, 1 of 8 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3.
Yeah, had higher than 2.5 made threes for Derek White. That didn't work out for me.
He scored 3 points. Drew Holiday scored 5 points.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, even the bench dominated their bench. You're like, how did that even happen?
The thing that jumped out to me against Boston the most, though, was early in that game. It was second quarter. Boston went on a run where it just looked like they were putting the game in a chokehold. It's like they're going to try as much as they need to try to extend this lead to where they can just kind of put their hand on top of the Kings' head and keep them at arm's length.
Yep.
And that's not what happened. And that was for me a pivotal moment. Again, not because I think Sacramento is better than the defending champs, but I think there's an early season version of the Kings lays down there, and they just let the Celtics put that game in a chokehold and not let them win, but just go, well, nothing we can do tonight.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're the best.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing we can do. I was impressed. Okay, so they go to halftime. It's 55-53. They come out, and the Kings finish the third quarter. They beat them 23-21. So you go into the fourth quarter tied. 38-21. The Kings destroyed them in the fourth quarter. Absolutely destroyed them.
Put it away.
Without De'Aaron Fox.
Yep.
Yeah, so just very, very, very impressive. Very impressive.
And then they go into last night's game against the Bulls. Less impressive overall performance, but it gets to my biggest takeaway of, I guess, of the Doug Christie tenure, or 8 games in. But the Kings just have different pitches now. They just have different clubs in their bag, different ways to win games. They can go in and beat Boston 114-97, and then they can go win a shootout with the Bulls. And it didn't feel like that early in the year. Early in the year, it felt like they had one way to win. And it's like, man, if they don't win the 3-point line, they're toast. Or if this is a tight game down the stretch, I do not trust them to close it out. Now you see them, tight game entering the fourth quarter. Yeah, hey, they can pull away from Boston. Tight game entering the fourth quarter against Chicago. Yeah, they can go blow for blow and then get the stops they need and get the buckets they need to close out this game. They're arsenal of ways to win games is just so much more extensive now. And that goes to, you have the Philly game where they went on the 15-0 run to end it. You have the Memphis game where you just kind of out-gridded Memphis.
Yeah.
There are 7 wins in a row and 5 different styles of victory, which is very, very telling for me. And I think one of the reasons that I'm so optimistic, despite, a relatively small 8-game sample.
Yeah. I think the overarching theme through the first 31 games of the season is that the Kings found really, really difficult ways to lose. Over the last 8 games, all but one of them, they found really, really interesting ways to win.
Yep.
And that's a good thing. If you can flip that switch and be a team that's just crafty and figures out how to, whether it's match grit or it's match 3-point shooting or it's make the 3-point shooting close enough that you can deal with it, whatever it is, I feel like the Kings have figured out ways to win. And it's something that I didn't think that they would have to go through. And sure enough, here they are, like, just accumulating wins like left and right. But it's different ways. And again, like, a team learning how to win is always part of the process. And the Kings got stuck in this perpetual cycle of not figuring out how to close a game.
Yeah.
How do you go 3-11 in games decided by 5 points or less? I don't know.
It's really hard to do.
Well, it's hard to do when you have 2 of the greatest closers in the game and Malik Monk. Really, you have 2 of the greatest closers in the game.
Who is better in crunch time than De'Aaron Fox last year.
Yeah.
You have those 3 guys on the floor. You should be losing these games.
No.
Yeah, man. It's crazy because everything early in the year, like there's levels in the NBA, right? There's the bad teams who are just going to be bad no matter what. They're bad. They're not trying. The Wizards fall into that category. That is a bad collection of players who also has mailed it in.
Oh, yeah.
They've still not lost a game by less than 4 points this year. They don't have a single 1-possession loss all year.
I've told you, like, I don't even want to trade with them.
January 13th.
I don't even want to trade with them because every player that's going to come out of there.
The vibes are that bad.
Yeah, the stench of losing, just like, I don't know how, I mean, you got to
bad habits,
spray them down with a fire hose and, I don't know, like there's like a delousing thing that has to happen.
Yeah,
where
maybe a little
throw the powder
vinegar
at them. I don't know what it is, but we got to that point with them. It's like, I don't know how you can get the smell of losing the way that they've lost off of them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't touch a single player on that team.
Right. And that's one level. Then you get to your teams who are bad, but man, they try their asses off. I feel like that's the Raptors a little bit.
Okay.
The Raptors are really, the Nets, particularly early in the year.
Oh,
man,
yeah.
Not a lot of great players there, but dude, they're going to play super duper hard.
Well, they just keep trading their players. Even for that matter, Memphis is one of those teams.
Yep.
They, like, talent wise, some nights they have talent, but other nights they don't.
Yep.
Like they've been missing players nonstop, but they always give you the same exact force.
And then you get teams like Boston, who they can sleepwalk through the regular season and win 55.
Oh yeah.
Like they're that talented. The Kings aren't Boston level talented, but they're too talented to be 13 and 19.
Yeah.
And to me, it just came down to effort. It was like, man, they are way too good. They have way too much talent to be 13. It's to me was an effort thing. Doug Christie has not been able to do. There's been some changes with the rotation, some little tweaks with the rotations. I'm sure there's little tweaks in what they're preaching defensively, but there's not these wholesale changes that he's been able to implement. So much of what it comes down to me is just trying harder. And not that they weren't trying before, but it's the difference between a 50-50 ball here, a 50-50 ball there, a tough closeout here versus a lazy closeout. Sticking to Jaden Ivey versus letting him get free in the corner, so you have to foul him on a 3-point shot. It's like these little changes, and it's the Kings are so talented that, man, if you get these little things to go your way, you're going to win 7 in a row. You're going to beat teams that are worse than you. You're going to beat a team that's better than you. And you're going to be a team that all of a sudden goes from, is this even a play-in team, to, I don't know why they can't be a top 5 team in the West.
Oh, no. They can easily.
That's where the margins were because the talent has always been there. And that's been the biggest thing for me with Doug is he got them playing to whatever it was that Mike Brown captured in 22-23, that night in and night out, the Kings wanted to win every single game. Mm-hmm. They were just going to flat out be better on some nights. Other nights, they were just going to outwork you. I always go to that double OT game against the Clippers, 176, 175, whatever the final was, because the Clippers were up big with like 2 minutes left. And the Kings just kept trying.
Oh, yeah.
And the Clippers didn't, and the Kings just took it from them because they were good enough to. So that is what I continue to notice on a nightly basis. It might look a little different, but the one constant is that.
Yeah, and I think the one constant that we saw early in the season was if the Kings hit their 3-point shots, they won. If they didn't hit their 3-point shots, they lost.
That was it. That was the margin.
That was it. And that's not who they are today. They have had games where they haven't shot the ball well. Mm-hmm. Even watching the game against the Bulls, man, Trey Lyles had at least like 5 wide open threes that he just bricked. But he kept playing. He kept rebounding. He kept doing the little things. And then a couple of shots fell. And so there's just a different mentality. Like, look, we're not just going to live and die by the three. I personally think that there was a way in which they could have blown out the Bulls and not made it all that close. Mm-hmm. But the fact that it just kept they kept missing open shots, kept the Bulls around. And then, of course, Zach LaVine went crazy. And Lonzo Ball, good for Lonzo Ball. I'm not a huge Lonzo Ball guy at all, but good for Lonzo Ball for he started out and hit 5 threes.
Yeah, he just quick pin in the Kings thing to talk about the Bulls briefly. The fact that Lonzo's even on the court,
yeah, it's pretty wild.
Is remarkable. Mm-hmm. I legitimately just kind of written him off. Like, okay, he's just gonna have whatever knee problems make it so he never plays for the Bulls again, and he might sign like a league minimum deal with Charlotte or something, and then be out of the league by 2027. Mm-hmm. And here he is playing NBA minutes, 26 minutes. Like he said, knocked down 5 threes.
Yeah.
Is he ever going to be the player that it looked like he might be when he came into the league?
Nope.
No. But man, after going through the injury stuff he went through just to get out there, shout out to Lonzo, man.
We don't even get to see the magician that he is as a passer.
Yeah.
Like he's not even there yet where he can really just move around on the court freely and look like himself. So yeah, maybe he is just a tall guard, set shooting guard at this point. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see if he can get fully healthy and maybe have a revitalized career here.
The other guy, Zach LaVine, man, he's so good.
Oh, he can score for sure.
I'm so Zach LaVine. I got his numbers here since November 29th. He's averaging, I'm just going to round, 26 points, 4.5 boards, 5 assists, 4.5 assists, on 52.6% shooting, 45% from 3, and 80% from the free throw line. I feel again quickly on the Bulls. The problem is nobody wants him because of the injury stuff.
It's injury stuff mixed with his contract.
Right. Nobody's going to trade what it would be worth it for the Bulls to get rid of him. But the problem is that he's playing too well for them to fully tank. And so now they're just the Zach LaVine of teams.
Yeah.
Like you're like, okay, they can win a game on any night, but are they a playoff team? Probably not. If they get to the playoffs, do you expect them to win a round? No.
Nope.
But they can't do anything about it because they can't get rid of Zach LaVine because he's playing great. So, okay, hey, trade value's up, but you're worried that you acquire him. He's going to play 3 games and then be done for the year.
Yeah. I mean, even like I'm looking at, he's played 34 games this year, right? Mm-hmm. He played 25 all last year.
Man.
And like every other year, he misses a bunch of games. And not only that, but when you add in the salary, that's the problem. And let's be honest, he does not play defense at all. Like the Kings guards tore him up yesterday. He doesn't play defense. He never has. And so there's this combination of things. But man, as an offensive weapon,
he was cooking.
Oh, he's so gifted. Yeah,
man. But just to that point, the Kings against the Celtics, you mentioned the Kings won the 3-point line by 21 points. and they beat the Celtics by 17. The Bulls outscored the Kings by 15 at the 3-point line.
Mm-hmm.
And the Kings figured out a way to win.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
Right. And that's at the core of what I'm saying. Is their margin for error has just skyrocketed. Where, all right, Zach LaVine and Lonzo Ball and Patrick Williams and Josh Giddey is going to knock down a three. It's like, it used to be like, all right, throw your hands up, not winning tonight.
Yep.
But now it's like, no, going to come down, going to get an and one, going to hit a three of our own, going to get a stop on the next possession. So, okay, you hit a three, but hey, we got a bucket, a stop, and a bucket. We're up 4-3. But then there's going to be the nights like Boston where, yep, they're going to defend the heck out of the three, and Boston missed some open shots to be sure.
Yep.
But I thought defensively the Kings were good against them, and then you're going to come down and you're going to hit your threes on the other end, and you're going to blow out a team on the road.
Yeah.
I am. If you had tried to sit here the day the Kings fired Mike Brown, and we did that live stream with D'Lo and Casey, and then we did another one the following Monday.
Yep.
If you had sat here, if you, James, or anybody, any guest had come on and been like, yeah, they might lose the first one under Doug, but then they're going to win 7 in a row.
No way.
You're like, get out of here. Like, that's the most optimistic, sunshine and rainbow stuff. No chance. I'm running out of ways to be wrong about this. The Doug Christie hire was just the right thing.
Yeah. There's no way around it.
Nope.
Yeah. And like, look, my fear was very reasonable.
I was right there with you, bro.
My fear would be that when they fired Michael Malone, poor Ty Corbin came in, went 7-21.
Yep. That's typically what happens.
Doug's already got those 7 wins in the first 8. Like he has 20 losses consecutively to get to where Ty Corbin was.
Man.
Like this team is very talented.
Yep.
They were underperforming grotesquely.
Yep. Like
whatever was wrong with them.
Yep.
They were underperforming.
Yep.
We've talked about this a bunch. They still need more. They still need the length and athleticism. They could still use a true shot block. There are things very specifically that this team needs. But if they're going to play this hard, and then they're easily a playoff team, they might be a second round playoff team if they're going to play this hard and play together.
Yep.
But you still need to go out and find the other pieces. I don't think there's anything wrong with us thinking that like you need to shake something up. And that's where I think the trades, we kept saying, you got to go make a trade. It was to shake things up. Something was wrong. But what it turns out to be, whatever, like they've just been reinvigorated by Doug Christie. And now we're seeing like he has them all marching together. At least mostly, because you can see where it's like, okay, how do we get everyone together? I love his comment, we're not a hand, we're a fist. And like you're together. And so these things like
we're aimed right at Rick Fox's chin.
Right at Rick Fox. Yeah, he keeps coming up with these clever ways of pulling the guys together and describing like what it is to be one. And for whatever reason, this team is buying it like 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it. I'm totally.
It's certainly more fun to watch on a regular basis. I'll tell you that. And I know that there's obviously more to basketball than effort, but it's the thing that just jumps out the most to me. They just look like, if you go watch the game against the Pacers or even Detroit, a game where they were up a bunch, and then watch them beat Chicago or beat Boston or any of the teams they beat in the stretch. Just looks like a different team. Looks like a different group of dudes.
Oh yeah.
And I'm on the trade thing, just real quick. On the trade thing, I almost wonder if they're venturing into the territory of like, just don't want to mess with it. Like now you're in the realm of, all right, well, hey, let's see what Doug can do with this group, and then we'll reassess in the offseason. Which I think could probably not be the right move. But I can see them, but it's getting more and more like I could see them talking themselves into that.
It's the excuse they always make. It is. It's the excuse they always make. Just try to fix a roster. Try to find a long-term fix.
Yeah.
If you can't come up with the long-term fix because you can't give up the assets in the trade, that's one thing. But again, I kept saying that this team needed to show us that they were worthy of you making a trade now. They already did it. They're a game over 500.
Mm-hmm. And they needed 7 games to get there.
They needed 7 straight wins to get there. But it doesn't matter. That's how they got there.
No, that's what I'm saying. They didn't have to like scratch and claw and like, because oh no, they lost. Okay, they got to win. Nope. They just went, all right, what is that? 7 games, 6 games under? All right, hang on. Yeah, we got this. There's 7 games. They're back over.
Yeah, we were looking at this 3-game road trip and saying, man, 2-1 would just be a miracle.
Now it feels like disappointing.
Now 2-1 does feel, well, we're all expecting they'll just roll right over. No. Like, they're going to go in and fight against the Bucks. And you know what, to be honest with you, they've had really good battles with the Bucks.
Yeah, even
last
year.
The Bucks are good, but they've had ups and downs all season. Mm-hmm. Sort of 2 teams meeting that were in the very similar position just not that long ago.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So I just what a hilarious 180 in the conversation. It's so fun.
It is fun. I think
having such a great time.
That's the best part about it. It's fun. And it's fun like to watch Doug have success.
Yeah.
And to watch him like solidify himself very quickly as potentially the guy who's going to run this team for a few years.
Yeah.
Like it's super fun to watch where it's like, okay, maybe we can get some continuity out of this. Maybe they will be able to continue what they're doing and get right back on the right path. And to see them like recover so quickly, and then all of a sudden, like, all right, like, where are you at? You got a couple more weeks here before the All-Star game, and I'll be honest, if you're the hottest team in the NBA, maybe you do get an All-Star. Maybe you do get 2 All-Stars. You know, because you got guys that are statistically worthy.
Yeah.
Now, like, go get the wins. Keep pushing.
Yeah. I can't imagine they won't. Maybe it gets sideways with Doug at some point, but man. Pushing all the right buttons right now. If I had to make a decision right now, if it's sign Doug long-term today or do a coaching search, if I had to make that decision now, I think it's a no-brainer.
Oh, yeah, they're just not going to because they're still paying Mike.
No, yeah. Well, and you got to see. Maybe the wheels come off this thing and all the motivational stuff starts falling on deaf ears, and we're feeling differently at some point.
Yeah, you got to see how the season finishes.
It's really tough right now to not think that this is a sustainable run and the Kings are all of a sudden back on track to be right there in that mix as a top 5 seed in the West. All right, we'll keep digging into that. An interesting rotation from Doug yesterday at the end of the game that I want to dig into. Plenty of NFL playoff action from over the weekend that we will dive into, and of course we got to revisit Mad Props with Jesse Tapia at 11:30. Cannot wait for that. He's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're hanging out with you until noon, and we're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. This is ESPN 1320 and Sacramento Sports Leader. It's fine. We're good.
What?
I thought I hit those buttons that take us off the radio.
Oh.
But they were on. And so I was like, did I just turn those on? But I think I just didn't hit the buttons.
Oh.
Because if we weren't on air the whole time, we would have gotten an alert that we weren't on air.
Yeah, someone would have ran over and told us.
I just had a moment of internal panic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think there are 2 different conversations. I totally agree. But the 13 and 18 record, like, again, that was unacceptable for this team no matter what. But that they also, like, they had a lot of issues, like, on the court. And, like, I think it matters because when Trey Lyles is out for, 3 weeks or whatever it was, and you kept having like little bumps and bruises with this team, there was a problem that you had to address, and it still hasn't been addressed. I mean, again, Keegan Murray just went through a couple of games where he sat out, and somehow the Kings won those games. De'Aaron Fox just missed 3 games. Like, you need more depth.
Make sure to have Jiffy Lube ready in this segment.
This segment or after this segment?
I'll just throw it to you.
Okay.
During the segment, we won't hit the break. You'll do the read, then I'll toss to break.
Okay.
It'll be at the end of the segment.
Okay, cool.
That's so weird.
Yeah, Chris, they've had 2.5 years to look at this roster. It's the same roster. The only thing that's different is this swap out of Harrison Barnes for DeMar DeRozan. Like, Keon Ellis was here last year. You can say you want to see more Devin Carter. I get that. But at the same time, I'm a little like, it's fine to want to see more Devin Carter. I get that. But that should not stop you from going out and actually getting somebody to help out. Unless it costs you Devin Carter. Yeah, they're going to want too much for Walker. They think he's worth a first, and if I'm the Kings, I'm not giving up a first. And you have to look. You're not giving up a first because for the Kings, he's a 12-minute per game guy, and it's not worth enough.
Jonathan, I'm nixing all your QB puns.
What in the world? Tall Chinese guy? Absolutely not.
What? No.
No.
I love Paul Reed. I don't think he is, but
he fits as one of the first guys off the bench, as opposed to Kevin Huerter missing, 70% of his 3-point shots. He steps on the court and actually makes
and plays defense.
He plays defense. Yep. He doesn't rebound all that well, but I do like some Aaron Nesmith. He's really developed.
Here we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
James is over there. I'm Kyle. A big salute to Jiffy Lube. We'll get to Wildcard Weekend in the NFL here in a second. I wanted to continue the Kings conversation from the top of the show after the Kings beat the Bulls 124-119 yesterday in Chicago. I thought the end of game rotation was pretty interesting because we had so much conversation about like where does Keon Ellis fit in all this, and it was Keegan Murray who was off the floor for a better chunk of the crunch time minutes, and then Keegan Murray entered for Keon Ellis with 1:29 to go, and that jumped out to me because I didn't even consider that Keegan would be the guy who would come off the court in a crunch time situation.
Okay.
Like it did. Like I saw people suggest that could. I just didn't think they would do that. But the bigger thing that stuck out to me was that there wasn't like some rush to get Keon off the court. It wasn't crunch time. Let's pull Keon.
I think everybody was super concerned that Zach LaVine he'd figure out how to start shooting 5-pointers or something because like you couldn't stop him already.
Yeah.
And Keon was sitting there fighting. And, when you've got a player like Keon that you can sort of just sick on one guy and just say, hey, go get him. It's a good luxury to have. And then I think there was a point where you realized that even Keon couldn't stop what was happening, and you probably needed more length on him, and that's why they went back to Keegan Murray. I'd also point out, like, Keegan Murray played 36 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, he played a ton.
Yeah.
And so the fact that he wasn't on the court at a specific time in the game, that made some sense. I mean, that's the one thing that I think is interesting that we, to analyze. Like, he went to a different player than Keegan. And I think that's very specifically because the Bulls had one guy rolling. That's it. There wasn't multiple guys that were just killing you. And so if you could try to slow that one guy, then you could get right back, you could sort of put them away. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it was bold, but I also, like, I've told people, it's going to be really difficult to get Keon Ellis on the court for more than like 20 minutes.
Yep.
Sometimes you can get him out there for 24. Sometimes you can get him for 28. But those 4-minute blocks there, that's pulling directly from somebody else. And the fact that De'Aaron Fox was able to play 33 minutes in his return, well, there's 4 minutes that you pulled right there. Because Keon, because De'Aaron's a 36 to 37 minute per game guy. And the rest of the starters all played 37 plus minutes, 36, 37. And so, look, I don't know how you can't manufacture those minutes. You can keep trying to take more away from Kevin Huerter. He played 10 minutes last night. Devin Carter played 11 minutes. Trey Lyles played 18 minutes. I thought, again, Trey was extremely effective for as much as he missed shots, going 3 of 10 and 0 of 6 from 3. He finished with 6 points and 8 rebounds, and he was a +9.
Yeah.
So there are things that Trey Lyles does that helps you, but trying to sneak minutes, trying to pull minutes away from your starting group.
It's going to be so interesting to see how this goes.
Yeah, it's not an easy puzzle to figure out,
because it's very clear that Keon Ellis is super valuable. But to what, like, there's a balance, right? There's a balance to the value that Keon brings, but then at some point there's diminishing returns because there's so much Keon that, okay, now it's less Malik, it's less De'Aaron, it's less Keegan.
Yep.
And what's the balance there? What's the right amount of Keon mixed in with the right amount of those 3 guys?
Well, that, and you have people clamoring right now, like, why is Devin Carter not playing more minutes? Like, because there are no minutes. Like,
not at the guard spots.
Well, no, I mean,
if Devin Carter was 6'8", he'd probably be playing more.
Oh yeah. If he was 6'8" with a 7'1" wingspan, like, he would be playing a ton.
Sure.
But the fact is that when you're looking at 2 36-minute per game guys, that leaves 12 minutes per position. That's 24 minutes. Divvy it up. Like, how would you divvy it up? Yeah. And it's difficult, but I mean, I see the dilemma, and you see the coaches trying to work and trying to figure out ways in which they can get Keon out there. Realistically, Keon was scheduled to probably play like 13 or 14 minutes last night. Sure. And then they went to him in the end of the game and got him those extra minutes because they thought that it gave him the best shot to slow down LaVine.
Yeah.
So again, I don't know what you're supposed to do. You just can't create more time. Can't say every game we're going to go to overtime so Keon can get 5 extra minutes in the game.
Playing for the tie.
Double overtime. We need more Keon minutes. Can you guys give me a double overtime? That buys me 10 more minutes so people will not be on my butt.
Yeah, man. It's just it's hard to argue with the results, and I know that Keon's been playing a ton because De'Aaron was out. But I think the more important thing than the number of minutes Keon plays on a night in, night out basis is that they have options now. Like, this is a good problem to have. This isn't, how do you play Kevin Huerter and Doug McDermott and Colby Jones?
Yeah.
So how do you it's not which of these guys is good enough to play. It's how do you find minutes for these 3 really good players, plus Devin Carter and Kevin Huerter, at 2 positions. And that's where it comes back to kind of the variability of the way Doug Christie and the coaching staff can mix and match. And I posited on I believe on this show and on D-Lo and KC that, man, maybe it's DeMar DeRozan that comes off, because it's kind of repetitive with Malik's got the ball in his hands and De'Aaron's at his best with the ball in his hands, and maybe DeMar is just kind of the weirdly the odd man out. But some nights that's not going to be the case, because if DeMar DeRozan is rolling, you're not going to take him off the court. But again, to me, this is a good problem to have. This is not this shouldn't be a point of consternation, especially when they've won 7 in a row.
Yeah.
Because I get when it was Keon Ellis playing 8 minutes one night and then 27 minutes one night and then no minutes one night. I get why that's frustrating. But he's a regular in the rotation now. That was step one.
Mm-hmm.
And now the coaching staff, I'm going to say, gets to figure out how to mix and match those minutes to maximize what the Kings are doing on a game in, game out basis. And some nights it's going to look different than others. Some nights you're going to be in a shootout with the Bulls, and other nights you're going to be turning the faucet off against the Celtics and beating them by 17. And I think that's where Keon is ultimately going to fit, is what style of game is this? What type of game is this? And having those options is a luxury.
Well, that, and is it a small forward, a 6'8" small forward that's busting you up?
Great point.
Or is it a 6'5" guard that Keon can go out there and defend, or a 6'1" guard that Keon might be able to sit there and hold down? Yeah. So I think the one thing the Boston game showed us is that Keon isn't a perfect player like some people seem to think, and that he does need to get stronger. He needs to, there are things that he needs to work on.
Of course.
Just like every other player. And that, like, you can't just expect him to find success in every single game. And the fact that he started 5 games, 5 games total in a row, like, that really did show you, like, it got him going as a player. It, like, helped him build up and have more confidence to go into this next stretch. But it was out of necessity. Straight up, it's out of necessity. You cannot expect him to play all those minutes all the time, because that's just not the way it goes. You have star level players that are playing in front of him. And so your best 3 players on this team right now, De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, and Domantas Sabonis. In some sort of order. 2 of those guys play the position that Keon Ellis plays. It's just a tough world.
Yeah, and I don't think, I know there's small ball and all that. I just don't think you can stick them at the 3 for extended minutes typically.
No, it's tough.
There's going to be a mismatch there.
Yeah, because if you're going to stick him at the 3, that means you got a 6'3", a 6'3", a 6'5". All, I mean, sure, maybe you can go small and you can run those 3 guards, but you're also going to be undersized at the 4, at the 5. You're going to be undersized at the 4 a little bit. So that's where I think, like, even playing Trey Lyles with a small ball lineup, it's really worked. Like, look at the numbers that, even if Trey isn't having some tremendous offensive game, look at the last 5 or 6 games and how effective he's been in.
Yeah.
And it's because you're able to run small ball lineups with him as a small ball 5.
Yeah. He's James. I'm Kyle. We're the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. I love more King stuff coming up from the weekend. The NFL playoffs kicked off this weekend, though.
Oh, yeah.
I was locked into some NFL postings, and I did think it was funny how many of these games were just bad. It's just not super enthralling games.
No, just not fun to watch.
On the heels of the discourse that the college football playoff messed up because look at all the blowouts in the first round. And then you go to the NFL where you have final scores of 32-12, 28-14, 31-7, 22-10, and then you had a good game, 23-20, and then there's another game tonight, which is stupid. Local takeaway for me. This is local sports talk radio. I'm so happy the 49ers didn't sneak into the playoffs. I think they'd have gotten mollywopped by every team in the NFC field.
Yeah, probably.
I know they beat Tampa Bay in Tampa, barely. They snuck past Tampa Bay. But, like, they weren't beating Washington. They weren't stopping Jaden Daniels. They probably weren't beating Tampa Bay again. Not with the version of the 49ers that by the end of the year, no chance.
No. By the end of the year, they
certainly weren't beating Green Bay or I mean, we saw them play Green Bay. They weren't. They probably would have looked worse against the Eagles. Just avoiding all of that, and I don't think they were beating Minnesota or the Rams. So avoiding all of that was great. I just, like, you know what? Kyle Shanahan's talked about it. How, you know what? Hey, silver lining, take a full January and a full February off and kind of reset and all that. I see it. I see the vision.
Okay.
It was so much better getting to just watch the games than have to watch San Francisco get smacked by 4 touchdowns.
Crushed by somebody.
Yeah. That's what happened. They weren't a playoff team.
No, I mean,
it was really clear.
Yeah. By the end of the season, it was very clear.
Yeah.
Very clear. I did not enjoy any of the games except for the final game yesterday.
Yeah. Let's just start at the top. Let's start at the Houston Texans Saturday 1:30 p.m. Pacific time slot.
Yep.
Houston beat the Chargers 32-12. The only joy I got out of that was because the worst type of football analyst, Justin Herbert, is their favorite quarterback.
Oh yeah.
And watching Justin Herbert just crumble in the postseason was, I don't want to say gratifying, because I think he's really talented. I think Justin Herbert is obviously extremely talented and does some things on a football field that like one or two other guys in the league can do.
Okay.
That is without question. But when you get into a postseason situation and now the lights are on you, you're the only game on and it is win or go home. I am not a subscriber to the idea that if you don't win a championship, you're a failure as a player. But on the other hand, I do think that has to, when you're talking about great quarterbacks, it's okay, what quarterbacks do you want in a playoff setting? What quarterbacks do you want with your season on the line? And it's like, bro, I don't think I want Justin Herbert. Not right now. And not writing him off. He's in his early 20s still. Maybe his mid-20s by now.
26.
He's 26. Like, I'm not, and he's way too talented. His first year with a new coach. They probably need another playmaker or two, but it just goes, the separation, again, this has always been my complaint with quarterback analysis, is according to the Steven Ruizes of the world for the Ringer, and not just him, he's just the avatar that we use for this. Justin Herbert is this great quarterback because he doesn't need all the coaches, all the weapons. He doesn't need all that to lift a team. It's like, well, if your takeaway from the Chargers game, and this was my takeaway, was like, Justin Herbert needs a little more help.
Oh yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
No.
It's just, you can't separate quarterbacks by their situation. If you're going to sit here and say that Justin Herbert needs a better situation. Like, that doesn't, you see where the logic doesn't track?
No, I totally do.
That's all. Watching him struggle was nice.
I like, he throws a great ball.
Oh.
Like, watching him throw is like, you're like, that
touchdown pass to Ladd McConkey, the 86-yarder.
Yeah.
That's one of those ones. It's like, honestly, to Brock Purdy, if he throws that pass, it's intercepted. He doesn't have the steam to get the ball there. But between the corner and the safety coming over, and he just fit that in on it, just dropped it between his numbers. What's McConkey? 15, the 1 and the 5?
Yeah.
Couldn't have been a better throw.
Oh no, that's what you love watching.
Yeah.
When he's throwing right, you're like, oh man, he throws a great ball.
Mm-hmm.
But like, we're 5 seasons in, and he hasn't done anything in his career. Wins. And so, 0 playoff wins, but also, like, I don't even know how many times he's been there. Twice. Yeah, that's
0 for 2.
Yeah, and we can talk about coaches, and we can talk about the fact that they started over with all of their specialty positions and all that. At the same time, like, at some point, a quarterback has to go in and win. And so far, he's just he's almost 27. He just hasn't been able to figure out how to get into the right situation to win. Where guys that around his draft years have won a ton. Whether it's Burrow or there's all kinds of quarterbacks around his draft year that you're looking at and like, okay, they found ways to be successful. And so, yeah, I even like, I thought that's how that game would go. I know you guys were a little.
I was all on the Chargers. I was all in on the Chargers.
Yeah, no, I chose the Texans in that game because I do think that CJ Stroud is that guy, and that did he have a good season? No. But I love watching him play. Lights come on, and he's just like a really, really fun quarterback that has all kinds of craftiness to him for when things get tough in the playoffs.
And you want to talk weapons? It's Nico Collins. Joe Mixon's a good player.
Yeah,
to be sure.
Well, he was washed last year, but now he's not.
Now all of a sudden he's good.
Yep.
A bad offensive line. Chargers have a much better offensive line. It's Nico Collins and Tank Dell's out.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs is out. John Mechie, who fumbles the first play of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
The other game, Baltimore 28, Pittsburgh 14. A few things from this. One, the Ravens are really freaking good. They are. That Ravens-Bills game should be a classic. Kirk Herbstreit hit the nail on the head, though. The Steelers quit. That was tough to watch.
Is he the one that had like one of the stupidest quotes I've ever seen? Like,
maybe
they're one stop away from possibly making this a 1-score game.
Yes.
They were down 14.
Yep.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah. They're one stop away and one score, and then another stop and another score from this being a tie game. It's right there.
It's right there.
But I think the point he was making was like, they're playing as though, and they did, they're playing as though they're down 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's like, no, if you get a turnover here and a quick score, this is a football game. And I thought he was spot on. I don't he's not my favorite football analyst, Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah.
Especially with the NFL. But I thought he was spot on. That was the exact takeaway I had from that game. It was like Baltimore went up 21-0 at the half, and the Steelers went, whoop. Good season, boys.
Yep.
And that was a tough watch for me. I think Cincinnati would have given Baltimore a better game, to be totally honest. I think the committee needs to put Cincinnati in over Pittsburgh next time.
Yeah.
Shocking stat of the weekend. I saw some people talking about Mike Tomlin, who's apparently not going anywhere because the Steelers don't fire coaches.
Nope.
Did you know Mike Tomlin, who's been the Steelers head coach since 2007? Okay. That's when he became
18 years.
2007. Has the same number of playoff wins as Kyle Shanahan, who's been the 49ers head coach since 2017.
That's
I went to go look that up to see how far behind Mike Tomlin Kyle Shanahan was, because I saw some people arguing about if Mike Tomlin if he was the Niners head coach or whatever. I didn't even read into it all the way, but I just went, I wonder how many more playoff wins he has. Same number with a 10-year head start. Nuts, dude.
That's not great.
And he's just going to be back. They're going to win 9 or 10 games next year, and they're probably going to go to the playoffs, and they're going to be a first-round exit again. The New York Giants have a playoff win more recently than the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ooh.
Like, man.
Oh, man.
You can't. That's a tough spot. You can't fire Mike Tomlin.
Nope.
Mike Tomlin
just keeps winning.
And you're the Steelers. Below 500.
And you're the Steelers.
You've had 3 coaches in your history or whatever it is. It's like Chuck Noll into Bill Cowher into Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's not 3. But it's not a lot. They don't fire coaches very often.
It's 3 in like the last 50 years. So.
Yeah. And then Mike Tomlin to get immediately hired by another team, and that team will probably be pretty good. And now you got to find someone who's better. Man,
it's tough.
Just for all the people who are like, fire Kyle Shanahan because he had a bad year. Like, don't do that. Do that. He's had a nice little run. Buffalo, Denver. I don't have anything on this one. 31-7.
No, Buffalo's just
Buffalo's a buzzsaw.
Yeah, they're just a much better team. Yeah. I hope they got out. They escaped without too many injuries, though. They did look like they're accumulating injuries in that game. And it's like, yikes.
Yeah.
Not great.
Philly beat Green Bay 22-10. Hey, pro tip for NFL teams: don't fumble the opening kickoff of a playoff game.
Okay.
Yeah, just don't. I don't know.
Philly just wasn't very good either.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wasn't impressed with either team in this game.
No.
But Philly just kind of made more plays, which is like what it comes down to in the playoffs. I still think Philly can contend with the Lions for the NFC. I think they're that good.
Okay.
And I think you saw it. They just and Green Bay had a bunch of injury problems. Jordan Love wasn't great. And Philly can do that to teams, man. Like Philly's defense is really, really good. I still got question marks about Jalen Hurts in a spot where it's like you got to drop back and you got to throw it. But what the Eagles do, man, they just made enough plays and they win by 12. Could have been more if Saquon Barkley hadn't done the right thing and slid.
Yeah.
At the end of the game, which I can't believe that's a story. But
everybody's so angry at Saquon.
That used to be a thing. That's always been a thing where if a guy slid down at the end of the game, it's like, oh, I bet there's bettors who lost some money on that. But now it's the story.
Oh, yeah.
If you Google Saquon Barkley right now, that's all it is stories that Saquon Barkley screwed over all these bettors. No, he didn't. That would have been a cheap-ass way to get your over half a touchdown.
There you go.
If you bet on Saquon Barkley over half a touchdown and you got it because of a garbage time score where the right play was to slide, you got away with one. You stole a win there. So people were like, oh, he should have scored. No, he shouldn't have. You slide down. You don't put your team in any more danger by having to do another kickoff and play more defense. Imagine he scores there. They got to go play a couple of defensive snaps and Cooper DeJean gets hurt and Jalen Carter get hurt. Two of their best defenders. No, he did the right thing. That's what matters in the scope of everything.
I totally agree.
Bettors can go to hell.
Yeah, it's not about stats at that point. If you're going to win the game, just do the right thing.
That's it.
Yeah.
Can't believe it was a story. I can believe it was a story. It's annoying that it was a story. And then last night, I Washington 23, Tampa Bay 20. I am fully bought in on the Commanders. Jaden Daniels is that dude.
That's what I just keep every time I watch him play. You walk away thinking, "Oh man, I can't wait for 2 years from now."
Yeah, right. That's it. I saw John Middlecoff of the Volume make this point. This is the worst they're going to be, theoretically. We thought the 22-23 Kings, that was the worst they were going to be. And you see how teams can get a little sideways. But theoretically, this is the worst version of a Jaden Daniels team that the Commanders are going to have for a while.
Oh, yeah, because they're just going to add.
Yeah.
Man, you get him a little bit more offensive line help. You get him a surefire tight end, another wide receiver. Man, McLaurin has been so good.
It's awesome.
De'Ami
Brown was great yesterday.
I really love watching McLaurin get an opportunity to play with a great quarterback. Because he's been a very, very good wide receiver in the NFL for a long time, and people just haven't really paid attention.
Yeah.
And now you're like, oh, look at him go. Good for you, dude.
Yeah. But I saw it during the regular season, right? They go for it on 4th down all the time. Like 3rd and 12, Jaden Daniels can run for it, but he's also so good at standing in the pocket, navigating the pocket, and just delivering accurate balls down the field. And then my thing is, okay, no, that's great. It's an incredible first step that most guys don't take. What do you look like in the playoffs? And then he just went on the road in the playoffs and just did it.
Yep.
Against a seasoned playoff team like the Bucs. I'm blown away by Jaden Daniels and the Commanders yesterday in their 23-20 victory. I don't think they beat the Lions, but what a year for the Commanders. What a year for Jiffy Lube. You want to talk about Jiffy Lube real quick?
Yeah, it's a new year to keep your vehicle running smoothly. And my friends over at Jiffy Lube have an amazing New Year oil change special going on. You okay, Kyle?
Yeah, no,
going on right now for the month of January. Get a full synthetic oil change starting at just $76.99 with a $33 off coupon online. That's right, starting at just $76.99 for full synthetic motor oil with online coupon. Go visit jiffylube.com today, find a location near you, and get that $33 off full synthetic oil change coupon now. Valid until January 31st, up to 5 quarts of full synthetic motor oil. Most vehicles are covered. Specialty and diesel vehicles can be extra. You must show your coupon for discount. Happy New Year's from Jiffy Lube.
We love Jiffy Lube.
We do love Jiffy Lube.
JiffyLube.com. Find the location nearest you. All right. We'll be back with more Kings stuff. We got some Kings Bulls storylines to dive into, other NFL thoughts from the weekend, and then we'll have mad props. I've got my underdog lineup of the night coming up, and Jesse Tapia will join us at 11:30 when we get to mad props. All that coming up in the second hour. James, Kyle, Jiffy Lube, ESPN 1320. Okay, clear.
Kyle, I'll ask about this.
What?
Did Kyle? I mean Tyler, you won, right? Like in the first week. You got to check your email. It's got to be hiding in your email. I don't know. I will ask though. I don't know. I don't hate a John Collins trade at this point, but getting up to John Collins' salary isn't easy. And I really like what Trey Lyles has been able to bring to the table. And if you bring in John Collins can't really play the 3. He's more strictly a 4, which means it's going to take away from what Trey Lyles is doing and make him a 12-minute per game performer. I still think that the Kings need to figure that out. They need to find somebody who can play the 3-4, and a shot blocker. I don't know. Frank Anwar, do I know anything about this Sandro Mamukelashvili?
Good, very good.
He's he's one of those European dudes that you would not want to get into like a bar fight with. I don't know. I like Mamu. I don't know that he's a dude that you're going to go out and trade for. But he's again like a 12, 15 minute per game guy. I don't think he would fit fully because I don't think he's a shot blocker the Kings need.
Can I keep it a stack real quick?
Yep.
There are 0 NBA players I want to get in a bar fight with.
Oh, there's a couple. You're like, whatever.
No chance.
All right.
I'm shorter than basically every NBA player. They're gonna have height on me.
I'm shorter than a bunch of them too. Well, than all of them too. Well, maybe not all of them.
And strength.
Yeah.
I'm getting my ass whooped by every NBA player. I will kick Zach Collins right in the shin, but he is going to beat the dog shit out of me after. There's just no.
Yeah.
The list of, honestly, not even NBA players, the list of people that I would want to fight in the world is so short.
Well, if you're not a fighter, that's fine. And I'm not saying I am a fighter, but like there's a lot of NBA players who I don't think are tough guys at all.
James, I watch you struggle to get out of your chair some days.
It doesn't mean I wouldn't go right for your throat. That's funny. Someone brings up Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams is owed a ton of money, and I like Patrick Williams. He's 23, but I more like the idea of Patrick Williams.
Yeah, he's a theory guy.
Yeah, not who he's developed into as a player. And I guess his salary, 18, 18, 18, 18, and 18, I thought he got way more than that. Like when people were talking about trading for him like a year ago, they were literally talking about like he wanted $30 million a year. I would probably take Patrick Williams at $18 million a year for the next 5 years. Joe Schmo, you would fight Bull? Yeah. Yes, exactly. Roadhouse was based loosely on the life of James Ham. No. Drew down, that's not appropriate. Yeah, Chicago's not trading. They're not trading Patrick Williams, I don't think.
Oh, hey, there's 7 seconds until we're back on the radio.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Here we go. Hour number 2, that's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're rocking with you until noon. Then we'll hand it off to D'Lo and KC, and they will take you up to 4 o'clock. I figured out what I did earlier. Remember when we went to break earlier?
Uh-huh.
And if you'd like to see what happens during the breaks, you can watch the show at youtube.com/ESPN1320 and twitch.tv/ESPN1320, because when we go to break on the radio, we are still live on the YouTube and Twitch streams.
Yep.
We're just hanging out. So I was confused about why. So there's just peeling back the curtain, probably too far, but it's fine. We'll talk Kings Bulls here in about 1 minute. There's a button I push on the board for each of our microphones that makes it so we're not talking on the radio anymore. Stream can still hear us. Radio can't hear us anymore. I thought I had pushed those buttons when I went to our first break, but they were still lit up. And so I was concerned, hey, had we been not on the radio that entire time? But if we weren't on the radio, we would have gotten a big alert, this flashing red sign on this screen in the corner that's like, hey, you're not on air. So I was kind of confused as to what happened. I thought maybe I just didn't push them. I just realized what I did. I accidentally pushed the button next to him. Identical button, same color and everything. I just pushed the wrong thing. That's what happened. I'm really happy that I figured that out.
Okay.
Because it was really going to bug me.
Yeah, so we're on the air.
Yeah, we're back. We've been back.
We never left. Yeah.
Never left. The Kings left for a minute, but now they're back too. They beat the Chicago Bulls 124-119 yesterday to get us back into that game. Let's dive into James Ham's 6 quick thoughts, which maybe you read these on various social media. I know on Twitter at James_HamNBA. That's certainly where I read them. We're going to take a deeper dive into those now on 6 Quick Thoughts.
How'd yesterday's Kings game go?
Really well.
Kings insider James Ham has 6 notes you need to know. Here are James Ham's 6 quick thoughts.
6 of them things. Brought to you by James Ham. Kingsbeat.com. Subscribe today. James Ham, what is 6 quick thought number 1?
I thought De'Aaron Fox kind of worked his way into the game. He didn't push things. Once he started rolling, I thought he was excellent. Not only did he have 26 points, he had 9 rebounds, 3 assists. And I think the interesting thing for me to watch is when they were on the court together, Fox allowed Monk to be the lead guard, and he played off ball. And that's not something that Fox always does. He had 4 of 8 from 3. He started to get things rolling. And to be honest, he's got to figure out how he fits. Like, this team has been winning without him over the last 3 games. And he needs to figure out how does he make the best impact for this team. And, you know, I think he did. I think in this game, like, there was an opportunity to go rebound. He did it. There's an opportunity to defend. To let Monk do some things on the court that were different. And I definitely think that he's figuring it out. It's not the easiest transition here, but he is figuring it out.
It's honestly what he needs to do on a nightly basis. I know we constantly ask for more from De'Aaron Fox. Need to lock in every night. Need to be angry every night. You scored 60. You can average 30, whatever it is. You can still do those things. But I think the sign of growth, or that next step, is knowing when to pick your spots. Knowing that some nights the Kings are going to need De'Aaron Fox to have 35 points. Other nights they're going to be good with him having 26 and Malik Monk kind of leading the way. And DeMar DeRozan getting more shots or whatever, whoever it is that night. That's kind of, I think, the next step with De'Aaron is knowing when to fall back. And this happens within games. It's not just first quarter he goes, oh, it's going to be a Malik night, I'm taking the night off. But knowing when, hey, you know what? Malik's cooking right now. How can I be impactful without the ball in my hands? How can I be impactful as a playmaker? How can I be impactful as a screener, as a slasher, as a cutter? That's the next step for him. And I thought he was pretty effective in that. Now, was it because he was coming back from injury? Or is it because he's got to sit back and realize that, okay, here's what I need to do? We'll see. But I thought he was really, really effective against Chicago.
Yeah, totally. And I think that there's going to be games coming up where you have to have him just go crazy.
Yep.
Right. In order to compete. But I also watched him like taking an honest approach to the game and not just trying to force his personality onto the court. Like, he found where he fit when they went to the bench unit, and he's the guy on the court with a bunch of other guys. Like, I think he stepped up, and I thought he was really good. But overall, like, I thought it was a very, very good performance. It started off a little shaky. He got his legs underneath him, and he looked like he's going to be able to fit in just perfectly well.
Number 2.
Sabonis is just on a crazy run.
He's ridiculous right now.
Yeah, just the rebounding numbers. He had 28 rebounds against Boston. He backs that up with 22, 16, and 8. Almost had a triple-double again. And what he's doing on the glass is wild. He's the NBA's leader in rebounding right now at 14.2 per game. If you can look at his stat line, 20.7 points, 14.2 rebounds, over 6 assists. Not only is he shooting like really well, like 59.5% from the field, but he's shooting like 40-something% from 3. Like, what he's doing right now is just like spectacular. And this guy is an all-star straight up, and he's an all-NBA player without any question. He's one of the top 15 players in the league, and I don't even think there's a question about it. And the way that he does it every single night is just something that I want to continuously repeat to people so they don't get used to it and stop appreciating what he does.
Where was my random cutoff here? Since December 12th, he is averaging 21, 17, and 6.
That's crazy.
On 56% shooting from the field, and 51.6% from three.
Yeah.
Pretty good player.
Like his shooting from three is crazy. He's shooting 2.4 threes per game.
That is honestly like the rebounding. We know you can rebound, whatever.
Yeah. We know you lead the league in rebounding every year. Whatever.
The willingness to shoot threes is like, it's not 5 a game, which I think was the extreme number I was using in the offseason. It's not 5 a game, it's 2.4 per game that he's attempting. But it's never been about the number of attempts. It's just been about the willingness to take them.
Yep. And
forcing defenses to defend you a little differently. They still hang back, but all right, he's punishing them. Cool. You want to play off of Domas when he's on the perimeter? Great. He's going to hit 50% from three. And he's going to take them. He's not going to hesitate to take those. He took what was it against Miami? He hit that huge three late.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't, because it used to be he would catch it and he would look like he might shoot it, but then he'd look around. Is there a place to pass this? No. All right, fine. Now I'll try and now it's just catch. He does that little rotation and he fires. And until teams adjust to it, he's going to keep hitting them. And there wasn't a huge leap for him to take as a player. He's not just going to develop an offensive bag overnight where all of a sudden he's this guy putting the ball on the deck and shooting off the dribble. That's not him. That's insane. That's not what he's ever going to be. But it was like, can you just shoot the damn basketball when you have the opportunity to do it? And he is. And it has taken, for me, it's taken his game to a little bit different level.
Oh, no, I totally agree. And, his like free throw attempts are down a little bit this season because he is playing more out on the perimeter. But my goodness, man, he's shooting 59.9% from the field and 46% from three. Yep. And he's shooting 78% from the line.
Yep.
Like he's improved there 15 percentage points from the line from last year.
Yep.
Well, maybe it's 8%. By the end of the year, he got up to 70.
Yep.
But still,
at this stage, when you're the stage of player he is, your growth is going to be incremental as a player, but it's going to be super impactful. And I think that's what we're seeing with his shooting this year.
Oh yeah. And just one other thing. This is a lot of the one-on-one work that he did with Doug Christie and Leandro Barbosa during the offseason.
Yep.
That's where a lot of this is coming from.
For sure.
Like the confidence in the three, the defensive like improvements. It's a lot of that work he's done in the offseason.
Number 3.
Let's see, number 3, where are we? Oh, Keegan Murray's coming around.
Yeah.
Hey, Keegan Murray, 3 of 8 from 3 over the last couple of games. Since returning, and I'm going to tell people he was hurting a lot worse than he let on.
Sure.
And it's something that they probably should have addressed before. But over his last 4 games, he's shooting 50% from 3 on 7.5 attempts per game. He's averaging 3.8 makes per game. And this is a Keegan Murray that everybody thought that they were getting this year. And it's really, really good to see him sort of figure it out. He's got his 3-point percentage up to 31.7%. He's climbing. He's showing us that he's on the road back.
I just think it's interesting. That what do you have his career numbers in front of you?
Yeah.
Do you have what were his shooting percentages his rookie season?
Keegan, shooting numbers his rookie
from
season.
3 specifically.
Well, that's 41.7, 41.1.
41.1 on how many attempts?
6.3.
Interesting. Since Doug Christie took over, so since December 28th, Keegan has played in 6 games. He's shooting 41% on 6.5 attempts a game. I just
look, he needed to be better. Like, there's no question.
Yeah.
And there's no excuses, whatever. Like, he needed to be better. And I see in the chat things like Mike Brown was ruining Keegan's career. Not to call you out, but raving fans. Like, no. Mike Brown was doing his best to figure out a weird situation when it came to Keegan. And Keegan had not been physically right at all. So he's not ruining his career, and none of it was intentional. You had a very, very good starting lineup and guys that are playing tons of minutes, and you didn't really have anything else. And I think Keegan got ran into the ground. And to me, that's about it.
He has taken, I don't think it's a coincidence, by the way, to your point. In his first 2 games with Doug Christie as the head coach, he was 1 for 9. He got 2 games off.
Yep.
He sat for 2 games, and since then is 50% from 3.
Yeah.
But here's another interesting thing. Again, I don't think anybody ruined Keegan, but when you start talking about communication style or what the offense is supposed to look like, this is an interesting nugget. Keegan Murray has taken 8 3-pointers 3 times in the last 4 games. 8, 6, 8, 8, or his 3-point attempts in the last 4 games. He took 8 or more 3 times the entire season prior to the last 4 games.
Oof.
That's telling to me.
Doug has been telling them, I won 43s a night, every single night. Yep. And I mean, against Boston, where they have 47, 47 3-point attempts, like he's pushing the 3-point agenda.
And if you miss it, you're staying on the court.
Yeah, just keep shooting.
Just keep on, shoot that B.
Yep.
Ball. B stands for ball. There
it is.
Shout out to Jello, by the way, whose music group just got signed to, I don't know, I just had Shams tweet up and then it went away. LiAngelo Ball signed like a $13 million music deal.
Okay.
I forget. I can't find. Oh, is it? It's fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, here it is.
I don't know that that's breaking news.
No, it is. Hang on.
For Shams.
It is. No, hang on. Where did it get? Why can't I find Shams Charania on Twitter? Oh. Where is Shams?
I've got it right here. LiAngelo Ball has signed a deal with Def Jam and Universal Music Group. A representative from his label Born to Ball Music Group says.
That's brilliant.
Born to Ball.
Deals worth as much as $13 million with $8 million guaranteed. Gives Ball full ownership of music and his own record label. Salute, man.
Wow.
Man, LeVar just figured it out, bro. Good for him. Back to James Ham 6 quick thoughts. We're on number 4.
DeMar DeRozan returned to Chicago, and he looked very much like the player he was with the Bulls. There were some moments where the shot wasn't falling, but overall he figured it out. I don't love 9 of 20. I don't love 21 points on 20 shots. He needs to figure out how to get that closer to, like 15 shots, and also didn't get to the line really all that much. Yeah, I mean, this is why you brought in DeMar. I think it was nice he had a tribute video. I also think, what was it? Zach LaVine and Vucevic, gave him a standing ovation while his tribute was playing. Good stuff. Good teammate. Well loved.
Here's my one quibble with DeMar DeRozan. 9 of 20, not great. Don't love that. 21 points on 20 shots, not great. But you know what? You're going to live with that with DeMar DeRozan. You mentioned the free throw thing. Would love to see that number higher, because that, to me, is when he's really at his best. It's getting downhill, getting to the rack, drawing fouls, or getting easy layups. Like, that's 0 rebounds in 37 minutes.
Yeah.
I can't get a board. 3 assists.
I know we want to praise all the rebounds for
can I get one?
For Domantas Sabonis. And again, De'Aaron Fox had 9 rebounds, so he went and got the ball. I'm wondering if De'Aaron didn't see something watching Devin Carter play over the last week, where he's like, it sort of seemed like it's pretty easy for him to go in there and get a bunch of rebounds if he just tries and just gets to the right spot on the floor.
Crazy.
Interesting.
Crazy how that happens.
Yeah.
Yep. Shout out to DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
Number 5.
Monk was the lead guard. I thought Malik forced a lot of things early.
He does that. I feel like he does that every game.
He forced, it got crazy. He was a little out of control. Yep. I just overall, it was like he had so much energy, he couldn't cool down. I think maybe it said he's trying to set the tempo early, but he got to I don't know, the start of the third quarter, and all of a sudden he became like this incredible distributor. And they got into the 2-man game with Domas again and again. Boom, boom, boom. They just started hitting him. And he was brilliant. He had 9 assists. He had 8 rebounds. Again, that's where DeMar got all of his rebounds stolen from the 17 from starting backcourt.
Yep.
But I thought that Monk, as that lead guard, was able to manipulate the game and really help push the team over the top. And he had 9 assists and 2 turnovers for the game. Just really, really impressive, efficient. Again, I thought once he got away from sort of the erratic play early on.
not DeMar DeRozan, Malik Monk in the second half, 5 points on 5 shots, but 8 of his 9 assists came in the second half.
Yeah.
To your point.
Got in the 2-man
5
game.
boards in the second half.
Yep. Yeah, he was really, really good.
17 in the second half. Man. Yeah, when Malik's rolling as the lead guard, the Kings just it's just a little different.
He even had the alley-oop to Fox late for the hammer. Yeah.
So sick.
They're fun to watch.
Number 6.
The Keon conundrum. He played in crunch time, but trying to find him more minutes is going to be a tall task. And, again, we keep talking about the Kings need to add length, athleticism at the 3, 4, maybe even the 5, whatever. That shouldn't impact Keon at all. You got to find minutes for him the best you can. He's a guy that is just showing that he's an impactful player. The plus minus, every advanced stat, net rating, everything else, it all points to Keon being one of your most effective players on the court. And I know sometimes that those stats can be a little twisted. I mean, I'll tell you, like his last 3 seasons in 2 or 3 seasons in Sacramento, Willie Cauley-Stein led the team in PER and net rating and plus minus and all of those things as well. And I don't think anyone would understand how that was possible. But it doesn't change the fact that certain players have an impact on the court, and you got to find ways to get them out there. It's just not easy. It's not easy when you have such dynamic players at the 1 and 2 that are your starters.
I think the thing I want to reiterate, because we talked about this a little bit earlier, this is just a good problem for the Kings to have.
Oh, it is. It is.
And if they stick to one thing and they keep losing, then we can talk about what needs to be different. But right now, trying to figure out how you're going to get minutes for 5 starters and then a 6th guy who could conceivably be a starter, that's it. That's better than trying to find minutes for guys who aren't good enough to play in the NBA.
No, totally. And I would also say this, the Kings, the last couple of years, they've had 6 starters. That's just a way, with Malik Monk, he was their 6th starter. I think Keon is now their 6th starter. And the fact that you moved Malik into the starting lineup and you lost that for a while, Keon has now established himself as the 6th guy without any question. And he's not going to win 6th man of the year because he's not going to score enough points. But that doesn't matter. He's shooting 41% from 3. He's playing excellent defense. You can, give whether it's Monk or Fox a break and let him go defend the most difficult guy. He just brings so much energy and joy to the court.
Yeah, man. He's a difference maker for sure. And I had one. Oh, when you mentioned the 3-point shooting and the scoring, the 6th man of the year award, I know that's fun, but ultimately it doesn't matter. It has no bearing on anything. The fact of the matter is Keon Ellis, when he hoists a 3 now, I'm so sure it's going in.
Oh yeah.
He might be the player I'm most confident that the shot's going to go in when he shoots it. It's like Keon, Domas, and that's it. They're the only 2 guys that I'm confident when they shoot a 3.
I mean, it depends on the night. There are certain nights where it's like Trey, and there are certain nights where it's Malik, or a certain night where it's Keegan, where every single 3-point shot is going in, but it's very game specific.
Yeah.
Keon, it feels like it's every game. Domas, it feels like it's every game. Just shoot more. Both of them, just shoot more.
Yeah.
So, and I think they've made up for the difference between DeMar DeRozan and Harrison Barnes. That swap out of players in 3-point shots between Keon and Sabonis just taking more.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, for sure. That's James Ham's 6 quick thoughts. Again, if you want to read those, follow James on the various social media. Blue Sky. You doing Threads?
No, I stopped doing Threads.
We're out on Threads.
Never
Twitter.
Really took. Yeah, Twitter.
James_HamNBA. Real quick, very quickly, a couple NFL thoughts from the weekend. One, I feel like I want to pour one out for the running quarterback discourse. Because for a while there, it was like, you can't have a running quarterback. Running quarterbacks will never win. I'm going to include Patrick Mahomes in that conversation just for the sake of it.
Okay.
He's a mobile quarterback. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Jaden Daniels are your five of the 8 quarterbacks in the divisional round. I think that's telling. I think more and more you're going to see that become an element of playing quarterback in the NFL, where it's going to be hard to keep up if your quarterback can't move because of all the creative things you can do offensively and the different binds you can put defenses in, where 4th and 5 is just a go for the Commanders because they just know, like, even if a pass breaks down, Jaden's got the opportunity to do it with his legs. Or there's different things you can do in motion. You can manipulate defenders easier. I think it's never going to be 32 starting quarterbacks who are quote unquote running quarterbacks, but I think it's going to become more prevalent than not that the quarterback is dangerous with his legs.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be at this point. You've got to be a really, really mobile dude because defensive linemen are just like, they're becoming more and more freaks. I look at the way that we talk about the running quarterback. It's a little bit in the same way that we talk about jump shooting teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
You know, like you used to be, you can't win with a running quarterback. And it's like, well, yeah, you can. You can win with a running quarterback. But
you have to be able to throw it. To be sure.
Yeah.
But it's not like, that guy can run, he's never going to win.
No, totally. So I think we're getting to a point, though, where most of the quarterbacks that are coming into the league, you have a handful of guys who are just pocket passers, right? And that's never going to go away. Right. But the running quarterback is like, it's so necessary, especially as the running back has been devalued in the NFL. Like having that second guy. Watching Baltimore, all they did was it's like, we're going to stack the box and stop Derrick Henry. And instead of them stopping Derrick Henry, they stopped Derrick Henry, but then there goes Lamar. Boom, 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 boom. And then as soon as you try to shut that faucet off, then Derrick Henry started rolling.
44-yard touchdown.
Game over. Like, just the thing, it's over. You can't stop them.
Yeah.
Tough.
Really, really tough. You know what else is tough? Winning lineups on Underdog. I had a rough weekend, but I'm still going to be in there because Underdog daily fantasy, it's the best place to cash in on all your takes during the NFL playoffs and the NBA season and whatever other sport you love, because they've got them all. They have over 5 million happy players, over $2 billion won. Underdog makes it fun and easy to cash in on all your favorite athletes' performances. Underdog's pick'em game, I just talked about, it's super easy. Pick higher or lower on at least 2 player stats from 2 different teams, passing touchdowns, rushing attempts, receiving yards. They do first half, first quarter. They have live. You can do things live within games. And you pick higher or lower, and then you went up to 1,000 times your money. It's really that easy. So if you think like Jahmyr Gibbs is going to keep cooking, being a touchdown machine in the playoffs, well, then you're going to want to make sure that he's in your lineup for the divisional round, whether you want more than half a rushing or receiving touchdown in the first half, first quarter. They have all that with Underdog, and it's not just the NFL. They've got all your favorite leagues and stars to choose from. I'm going to have Kings in my lineup every night they play. I'm going to have a couple of Sacramento Kings in there, and I'd love for you to play along with me because Underdog is the best place to play. Pick them, download the app, sign up with promo code KyleM, and deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That's promo code KyleM. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, mad props to Jesse Tapia and the handoff coming up next. We'll continue talking about that. And Jesse's a big Celtics fan. Got to get his thoughts on the dismantling of the Celtics by the Sacramento Kings at TD Garden on Friday. All that coming up next on The Insiders, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. This is ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. We are clear.
Clear.
Katrina, this was literally what I was thinking about when I was saying, where is Shams?
Okay, so I have a specific, I use TweetDeck, and I have a specific column that I have just like newsbreakers.
Manny gets it. Sorry, go ahead.
So and then I get alerts for Shams. What was that? Breaking. Penn State star Nick Singleton announced he will return for the 2025 season.
Oh, wow. 3 tutties in the college football playoff semifinal.
The San Francisco Giants, according to Alex Pavlovich, have been informed they are out of the running for 23-year-old Japanese pitcher Roki Sasaki. Oh, sorry, I didn't fire that thing up over there. Get Jimmy Butler reportedly skipped Miami shoot-arounds and requested to fly on private planes away from his teammates, per Jake Fisher. Not great.
Nope, that's not the one I want.
We also have this crazy thing that Jonte Porter sent texts to bettors during Raptors games. Oof.
That's so ballsy.
What you doing over there? Nothing. Setting my lineup. Click. What?
Jesse, I'm sending you a running back. You're good now.
What's going on, everybody?
What's up, Chatty House?
Oh, John Bull's in here swinging away at the Porter family. There you go. All of them. Yeah, doesn't the other brother not didn't he kill someone in a DUI accident? I believe so. Michael Porter's two brothers. One of them is suspended. Bless you.
John, no one's embarrassed over here. Good win for the Kings, though.
Hey, there's a ton of people up in here today. If you don't mind, could you hit the thumbs up button? And please subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, hi, everybody. The chat moves too fast for me, man. What's up, Kyle Renata? What's up, Jose? Brian, Tom. Boy, was he.
Hmm.
What's up, Spencer?
I wouldn't trade him for Julius Randle either.
Damn.
If you're doing something, we can talk about this tomorrow or something, but if you're doing something as drastic as trading De'Aaron Fox, you're getting like multiple really good wings for him.
Yeah.
Like if you're moving De'Aaron Fox, if you were hitting that button, it's because you're going to get you're improving the 7 through 9 spots in your rotation
Is that a thought
and
today?
getting picks back.
Trading De'Aaron Fox, is that a thought today?
No.
Okay.
I keep seeing people in the chat.
And not from you guys, but
Yeah. Or who was the one earlier? Zach Levine for De'Aaron Fox. So it's just come up.
Yeah.
But I'm out on the idea unless you're just like you're getting picks and like 3 guys who can play the 3, 4, and 5 or whatever.
You're getting 2 starters and someone else with potential and maybe even a draft pick or 2.
Let's save this for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
James is there. I'm Kyle. Jesse Tapia in the building for the handoff. We got to go back over mad props.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had kept track of our playoff picks. I went 4-1 this weekend.
allegedly you didn't keep track of it, so
I went 5-0.
I don't think I did too well. Packers was bad.
Yep.
Chargers, Justin Herbert What's your issue? That was bad.
What's his issue?
We threw like 4 picks, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's Justin Herbert in the playoffs, bro.
Yeah.
I guess.
I
don't trust.
I think I picked all 5.
Nice job, man.
Shout out to you guys.
Congratulations. James, the big winner of the contest that we didn't keep track of.
That we didn't keep track of.
This is all hearsay.
It's going to be like mad props. It's like someone's going to lose a sheet at the end of the season.
Oh, yeah. I
Kyle
conveniently
Madsen's
deleted
going
it
to try
all.
to come up with some weird rule where he gets, I don't know, like 20 points or something.
Yeah, I'm going to make it so there's going to be one that I get right and you guys don't. I'm going to be like, that was the one. That was the golden ticket.
It was a 20 point.
It was the golden snitch. I caught it, and I win now.
Shout out Harry Potter.
Salute. All right, let's get to mad props, and we can get into some other stuff. Mad props.
It's time for Mad Props. 2 games, 2 props. Which number will he hire? That's for Kyle and James to decide. Here's Mad Props.
Man, I have a button that says Mad Props Intro. It is the only red-colored button on this page, and every time I have trouble finding it.
Oh.
Every time. I don't know give it its own page.
Just be better tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, I know.
Ouch.
I'm gonna try. Apparently, I won't though because I've been trying to
this keeps
get
happening.
this
So I
damn
have no
button
advice
right.
for you. Maybe change it to green.
just up at home on my computer, just practicing clicking.
Anything that's red. Just
Not now, honey. I'm busy. Anyways, mad props. We had the Kings game on Friday with the NFL playoff games. 2 props. You match them up. Which one's higher? Malik Monk field goal attempts or Russell Wilson completions. Jesse and I went with Malik Monk's field goal attempts against the Boston Celtics. James, you rocked with Russell Wilson. Not the right move. Russell Wilson just 20 completions, 24 field goal attempts for Malik Monk against Boston. Now, granted, I think at that point you thought De'Aaron Fox was going to play.
Well, yeah, but still, like, if you told me that I would get 20 completions, I thought I would have won.
Yeah, 24 shots is a lot.
For Malik?
I had his on Underdog. I had his lower than 30.5 points, rebounds, assists. And I saw early in the game he was going to chuck, and he started hitting some shots. It's like, whoop, that's in danger.
Also, really glad we're just going to run back the no quarterback for the Steelers play again next year. Because it just worked perfectly the last 5.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin, Rando under center. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Can't wait to watch the 10-win Steelers lose in the first round. The second one, Keegan Murray 3-point attempts or Mike Evans targets. James, you went Keegan. Jesse and I said, hey, Mike Evans is going to get more targets than Keegan's going to get 3-point attempts. Stand by. I had the number wrong. I might have this wrong. Keegan Murray. No, I have this right. 8 3-point attempts for Keegan Murray. 7 targets for Mike Evans.
That's a tough one right there.
That's really tough because Mike Evans needed more targets.
Yeah.
I don't know why they went away from Mike Evans, but he was cooking.
That's right.
Caught all 7 of his targets for 92 yards and a touchdown. That's a guy who should have gotten 15 targets. You know, one thing Justin Herbert did do well? He targeted Ladd McConkey 14 times. We'll get to that in a minute.
Oh.
You got a guy who's cooking, you got to feed him.
That's right.
Anyways, James the big winner there. Domantas Sabonis points, rebounds, and assists, or Ravens Steelers total points. James and I said the Ravens and Steelers.
We are way off.
Jesse, you rocked with Domas.
Domas, I believed in you.
The Ravens and Steelers combined for 42 points.
Which is a solid number.
That's the number we were in the range of.
Yep.
Domas finished with 54 points, rebounds, and assists.
I saw that coming. I predicted it.
You predicted that your Celtics would not block out at all.
Hey, these guys haven't looked so hot lately. Domas, I'm feeling about 26, about 30 rebounds, maybe.
Domas was like, he parted the Red Sea and just like rebound.
All we needed was 2 more touchdowns from the Steelers and Ravens, and we would have.
No, that number was pretty absurd. You got to like 20 at one point. It's like, wait, is that a mistake?
Yeah,
like that was insane.
I literally at one point stopped. I was doing some work around the house. I literally stopped and I was like, I'm gonna watch until he doesn't grab the rebound.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone do that. Like against the Celtics,
it was nuts.
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan points or Josh Allen completions. We all went DeMar on this one. We were all correct. 24 points for DeMar DeRozan. 20 completions for Josh Allen. Nice work, everybody. That moves us to number 5. Trey Lyles made threes or Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry rushing touchdowns. You guys rocked with the Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry combo. and they got you 2 touchdowns thanks to Derrick Henry. Trey Lyles, 1 made 3.
There we
The
go.
Kings made 18
Yes.
triples. The Kings made 18 threes against the Celtics.
That's what they call a bad beat, Kyle.
They won 18 of them things. If you told me the Kings made 18 threes, I'd have been like, Trey Lyles got this easy.
That's
1
funny.
for 4.
I know.
Just brutal.
The day the Kings just happen to shoot absurdly from 3 is just, oh no, Trey's gonna get 1.
Just brutal. Usually when the Kings do that, it's because Trey Lyles went 5 for 6.
Exactly.
Man.
There we go. It was a good week
so
of
you
Mad
guys,
Props.
You guys get the W there. Last one here. Bad end of the week.
Oh,
I
no.
shouldn't have ended on this one. Keon Ellis points or Lad McConkey targets. You remember the 14 targets for Lad McConkey I mentioned? Yeah, 6 points for Keon.
All right, Keon.
Kings made 18 threes, and Keon had 6 points. Keon made 1 of his 5 threes.
Did we all go Keon?
Yeah, we all went Keon.
Ouch.
We all caught an L.
Probably should have.
Keon L's.
Otherwise, knowing Keon is about 6'2", and everyone on the Celtics is about 8 feet tall.
Keon's like 6'5".
He's 6'5", but
6'5".
yeah.
That's what they say.
I think
NBA height is-
6'3.5" is what he measured in without shoes at the combine. So with shoes, 6'5".
All right, still a pretty
Ish.
good week though. I think weekend.
That's a good point by Jesse though. Real quick before we do that, James went 3-3 this week. I went 2-4. Jesse, the winner of the week, he goes 4-2 in this week's edition of Mad Props. We'll have more for you on Friday. That is a good point though by Jesse. You mentioned the Celtics' height on the perimeter. DeMar DeRozan 2 for 5 from 3, but again DeMar's 6'6". Domantas Sabonis 3 for 4 from 3,
Sharpshooter.
6'10". Keegan Murray 6'8", 5 for 8. Malik Monk 6'3"-ish, 3 for 11. Keon Ellis 6'5"-ish, 1 for 5. Kevin Huerter 0 for 5. Trey Lyles 1 for 4. Kevin Carter went 3 for 5 though. So I don't know.
Oh, he
Kevin
took
Carter turns out he's a pretty good basketball player.
He's all right.
He started launching from deep, like 27 footers. You're like, whoa.
Like, sure, man.
Fourth quarter he was feeling
confident.
The first one he took was like, oh no. I mean, it clanked.
It was bad.
It was bad.
It was a brick.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then it was like, oh, there he goes. Look at Mama. There goes that man. You're like, well, look at that.
I didn't see that coming on Friday.
Yeah,
they were just flat out the better team for quarters.
I think Joe Mazzulla was right. Like he said it afterwards. Like they're a good team and they kicked our ass.
Yeah,
like that's kind of what happened.
Pretty much what it comes down to.
Man.
Well, Doug Christie's out there saying, yeah, we hate them. We hate them. We love us. We hate them.
It's so
Shout
funny.
out, Doug.
It's so, dude, Doug's the best. And it's so funny because if you ever, I feel like we talk about this once an episode. So sorry, everybody. But if you've ever been around Doug and you talk to Doug, he's the most like warm, nice person. Like he's going to say, what's up? How are you? How's the family? The nicest guy, like all about that positivity. And then you hear him coach and he's like, we want them all to die. We want them to suffer. We're stealing their joy. We want to make them and their families and previous generations of their family all cry tears of sorrow tonight. Let's go do that, gentlemen. Let's be the light for the city. Like, what is this? Oh my God.
So let's go be the light for the city at the end. It's perfect.
He's like the evil guy in the second Indiana Jones that just reaches in your chest and pulls out your heart. That's what Doug is looking for. I will tell you though, like I've seen this before. He hates the Lakers so much that like when I was leaving the locker room earlier this season, they were playing the Lakers that night. I'm like, yeah, like good luck tonight. He's like, F those bees, like can't stand them. Like we have to go crush them. And then they lost. And then they lost again. The worst thing for Doug is that he's 7-0 against everyone and 0-1 against the Lakers.
He would happily be 1-7.
Yes.
We need more coaches hating teams. We need
I agree.
We need rivalries back.
Yeah.
That's it, dude. There's
Like-
I'm right. Not that I dislike because these players grew up playing AAU together from the time they're 13. They play on the same teams. They play against each other. They know each other for half a decade or more by the time they get into the league.
Oh yeah.
So you get they work out together. They're friends. But I'm with you guys. Like
You can still like for 48 minutes, I don't like you.
yeah.
Like it's fine. Like I was watching the Steelers Ravens game, and like players talk about, it's just you learn to hate the other team. Like yes, we need more of that.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, like watching NBA players. And again, I interviewed Donovan Mitchell one time, and the Jazz PR staff's like, hey, everyone has some sort of connection with Donovan throughout the league. So like But I was asking him questions about Eric Paschal because the Warriors guys at NBC had asked me to go like interview him because they were close growing up.
Wild ass career, Eric Paschal, by the way. Go on.
They were like in the car together. Parents drove together to every AAU game. They were like brothers, right? So like that's how we are with our soccer boys still. They were raised like driving with us everywhere. But the Utah Jazz PR staff was right. Like everybody universally, everyone has played, everyone has gone up against Donovan Mitchell. Everyone knows Donovan. Even like De'Aaron was like, we all knew he was a great defender. Like I played against him forever. He's a year older than De'Aaron. He's like, but him as an offensive weapon like that, no one saw that coming. Like at the pro level, like he just never did that. And all the years we played AAU against each other, so it's like it's difficult to scout a guy who all of a sudden gets to the league and is just a superstar scorer. You're like, no one saw that.
Yeah,
weird.
Yeah. I was listening to the Austin Rivers podcast called Off Guard, and he talked about how he grew up playing on the same team as Brandon Knight, who was always like the best player. He was a year older than Austin, I think, but he was always like the number one guy. It's like they played AAU together when they were 14. Just two NBA guys on it, but that's just like you said, James. That's just what happens.
Well, I mean, that De'Aaron had a team, and it was like him, Justin Jackson, Kelly Oubre. Like the whole team was stacked.
Full of NBA guys.
Yeah,
even
that's
like
what it is.
Bradley Beal and Ben McLemore played together on a team in like the Peach. I can't remember what it's called.
I have no idea.
There's
Peach
one
basket.
Yeah, I think it is a Peach Basket tournament. It's like the big AAU tournament, and they were teammates for a couple of years.
Man,
yeah, all these guys played together.
That's crazy.
So I guess it is tough to like hate your opponents.
I dislike.
You don't have to hate them either. Like, oh gosh, there's Devin Booker at the coffee shop. I'm gonna beat him up. Like not like that, but just more so like they compete during the game.
The Michael Jordan, Larry Bird thing.
Yeah.
From the documentary that played during COVID that I can't remember the name of.
Oh,
Last Dance.
Last Dance. Thank you. Where they like shake hands and they do the bro hug, but then it's like FUUB.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what.
it.
Yes,
Perfect.
yes. But too often now, players hate like their own teams. Like that's I think the bigger problem.
Oh yeah.
You got Jimmy Butler. You got Bradley Beal. I think Steph Curry probably hates everybody on the Warriors. I'll never say it.
It sounds like it every time he talks post game.
Like,
I mean, there was hatred between the Kings and Lakers. Like,
sure,
and it lasted long after
visceral,
playing careers.
For sure.
Long after playing careers between Kobe and Doug.
We need to instigate that back.
I agree.
Figure out a way, James.
They don't play the Lakers again, huh?
You're the inside man, James. So we're gonna.
I think maybe they play them one more. No. They play them all, and they get swept, or do they go 1-3? No, I think they got swept this year by the Lakers. Yeah.
Oh, that's tough. Next year we're instigating.
Yeah.
We will go do a show down in LA. Okay.
I'm here for it.
I love this. I love this for us. I want to reiterate one more time before I give you my underdog lineup for tonight. I want to reiterate one more time how much I hate Super Wildcard Weekend in the NFL.
Oh yeah.
It sucks so bad that we're like, yeah, we're going to talk about the slate of games. Also, there's one tonight.
So you hate the schedule of it?
I hate it so much.
Yeah.
Give me 3 Saturday, 3 Sunday.
Saturday, 10 o'clock game was tough.
It was brutal.
I saw your tweet and I was like, yeah, I can relate to that.
Can you imagine being on because I literally was like sitting there, it's 8 o'clock. I'm like, all right, I should probably get my day started here. But, all right, hey man, if I can get a little workout in and then get to the grocery store, pick up a coffee on the way home and sit down. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh, football till 1:30 today.
Trash.
Ugh. Imagine being on the East Coast, 4:30.
East Coast time zone is trash.
4:30?
Yeah, no thanks.
I just remember baseball playoffs. The A's would always get like the worst day games. I would get out of high school and they would already be done playing. You're like, what in the world?
Yeah, it sounds awful.
Like a Wednesday day game?
I was stuck in biology. Meanwhile, the A's were in the playoffs.
And there's no, at that point, there's no cell phones.
Yeah.
No,
there is no smartphone.
You got nothing.
There's no internet. You can't track what's happening. You sitting there listening to an AM station in my ear. I don't even know if they had earbuds. I'd have to have like the big.
Even that?
You can't
the
Walkman.
Like
yeah.
With
like
the little
headphones.
fuzzy ears.
Yeah.
But no, the little ones.
Oh,
with,
yeah.
With the little
the whole ear was covered.
Yeah, with just a little fuzzy ear.
Oh, yeah.
Like
I rocked those.
Yeah.
Can you imagine you just missed the game completely back then or whatever, like way back, and it's just
No.
like, oh, I got to check the score in the paper, and you realize your team lost, and your day's ruined, your morning's ruined because you found out, oh, the Celtics lost
Yesterday.
Yeah,
Yesterday.
I'm
Exactly.
retroactively upset about this.
Yeah.
Oh, that stinks. Speaking of the Minnesota game tonight, that's where I'm going with my underdog lineup, because underdogs pick'em game is the best place to cash in on all your takes during the NFL playoffs, and that's what I'm going to do. Plus, I'm going to mix in some NBA. So it's an all Minnesota team game lineup. I'm going Anthony Edwards. I adjusted his point total because I think he is going to crush the Wizards tonight. I think Anthony Edwards is very frustrated with the situation. I think Anthony Edwards is going to go see food with whoever lines up across from him on the Wizards. I think he's going to go make a point. I have him higher than 29.5 points tonight. Jonas Valanciunas for the Wizards in that same game, I'm going higher than 9.5 points because it turns out he typically cooks against Rudy Gobert.
Mm-hmm.
That was a surprise to me. So he's a bunch of like 20-point games against him in his career. So I'm going with higher than 9.5 points for Jonas Valanciunas. And then Matthew Stafford, he's throwing a pick tonight. Matthew Stafford's throwing an interception.
Feels fair. It's just a matter of the Minnesota defensive backs in a catch up.
Great point. So I'm going Matthew Stafford. I'm going to bet on the Minnesota defensive backs to make that play. So I'm going Matthew Stafford higher than half an interception against Minnesota to round out my lineup with underdogs pick'em game. You can play along with me. Download the Underdog app, sign up with promo code Kyle M, and deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That's promo code Kyle M. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. I'm just going to read this every time because I think I have to. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncbgambling.org. All Minnesota games.
There we go.
I'm dialed into Wolves Wizards tonight.
So you got the Vikings tonight?
I'm a real sicko. Yeah. No, I took the Rams plus 2.5.
I was
I had to stick with it.
I was leaning Vikings. I think I'm going to stick with the Vikings.
They're the better team.
Yeah.
They
I'm
should
going
win.
Vikings.
Yeah.
They should win.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. There's something about the way Sam Darnold played against the Lions that gave me the ick.
Yeah, but he's had a few of those games this season. It's like, all right, Sam's going to have some stinkers, but I think he'll just kind of be back to normal.
Maybe if he is, then the Vikings win.
Yeah.
Is there a player with more riding on one game than Sam Darnold today?
Ooh.
Money-wise, no.
No, for sure.
Sam Darnold could make himself like $150 million.
I definitely think he could get 120, like a 3-year 120 out of this. Maybe even a little bit more. I mean, his stats are spectacular.
You just need to find the right team to pay him.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I think it's a little bit the same thing as the Brock Purdy conundrum. Like, okay, you're going to pay him, but do we have the weapons to maximize what Sam Darnold is going to do?
Yeah,
but if you're the Vikings, do you really let him go?
That's
that's the plan.
I'm trading the young kid.
But that's what I think when you say does anyone have more riding on this game? If Sam Darnold loses tonight, or if the Vikings lose tonight, and Sam Darnold plays horribly, then he's probably not getting a 3-year, $120 million deal.
Yeah.
But if he goes out and plays really well, and the Vikings probably aren't signing him, but if he goes out and plays really well throughout the playoffs and they go to the Super Bowl, I have a really tough time letting that guy just walk.
But at this point,
for a complete unknown.
But if you don't even know at this point, we're already in the playoffs. If you don't know at this point, then is it kind of like, all right, yeah, we should just let him walk? Like if you're still asking yourself,
I think right now today, if they had to make a decision right now, he's gone.
Okay.
But I think he could play himself into Minnesota because if you go to the Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl, I have a really hard time moving on from that guy.
Yeah, send JJ McCarthy to the Raiders for their pick.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
I mean, what are you going to get McCarthy? I think you can still get probably a second and a third. You're not getting a first-round pick for him.
Probably not.
I don't think so. I mean, didn't he blow an ACL, right?
He messed up his knee.
Yeah.
All right, second round pick though.
Yeah,
but you can get something back for him. Sam Darnold's going to walk, and the best you're going to get is a 3rd round comp pick in the next year's draft. I don't know, but
it's
to that point,
27.
But if he goes out and throws up a stinker tonight, I don't think it changes anything for the Vikings. But I do think if you're a team that's looking to sign him, you're going, man, they had a really good group of pass catchers all year. They had a really good offensive scheme. And then in the 2 biggest games of the year, you laid an egg? Laid 2 eggs? Laid 1/6 of a dozen of eggs? I don't know.
2 eggs.
I'm so glad I don't have to be in an NFL front office making these decisions.
Yeah.
Because I genuinely have no idea.
I would
you're in a better spot team building wise if you have a quarterback on a rookie contract, and if you think that your offense is so quarterback proof that you think you can just drop JJ McCarthy in and get a close enough facsimile of Sam Darnold for a fraction of the price, then why wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, but I'm looking at that second and third round pick. That's a starting defensive back. That's a starting middle linebacker. Might be a starting offensive lineman. I mean, if you draft well, I'd rather stick with a guy that I know versus an unknown. I mean, unless what you've seen behind the scenes is this kid is a can't miss.
Right. But I mean, JJ McCarthy is, and I think we got to go.
We do.
Oh yeah, we're super out. Okay, hey, we got to run. JJ McCarthy was a top 10 pick.
Yeah,
it wasn't like they found him in the 7th round. But anyways, okay. We'll continue discussing that, I'm sure, tomorrow. We'll have more Kings tomorrow. We got D'Lo and KC coming up. Jesse Tapia producing that show. They'll take you up to 4:00. James Ham will be back, James Ham and I will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. on The Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. This is ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. Until 10 a.m. tomorrow, drink water and be nice, people. See you.